Well, it's a gloomy day today, but Greg Howard, the Mayor of Dorset, the outlook for the region's anything but gloomy.
Absolutely, yes. We're certainly pumping at the moment, the North East. We're very pleased with the tourism numbers that have arrived over the last 2 or 3 months since the border restrictions came down. And agriculture's been really good. We've had a fantastic season rain-wise, and some people think rain's gloomy, but farmers don't think.
Farmers will be happy.
Farmers don't think that. Look, real estate's booming. Jobs, our unemployment is very, very low, and look, the outlook is very, very promising.
Well, let's talk about real estate. Derby, obviously, an amazing story of transformation from 10 years ago when properties were struggling to sell at $20,000.
Yeah, that's true. And as I said, you could have bought could have bought the whole town for probably $1 million, 10 years ago. And since the mountain bikes arrived at Derby, real estate prices have just gone through the roof. And the average price is well in excess of $300,000 now for what is essentially an old miner's hut. 2 bedrooms, sometimes outside facilities, and only on the market a very, very short period of time, and they're sold. And
a spin-off for all those other smaller areas that we probably don't hear about.
Yeah, so Ringarooma, Branxholme and Winnaleah especially, they get quite a spin-off from Derby, and they've seen not as larger increase in their real estate price, but they've certainly seen a jump in the real estate prices. And Branxholme, especially since we built that new trail to Branxholme, they've seen quite an increase in there's an Italian restaurant there, and there's a pizza parlour and the pub and things like that, and the swimming pool, and we've spent a bit of money on that. So that's just what we've tried to do, is give a bit more product for people who don't necessarily want to ride the bike, so for families and partners and children and things like that.
And obviously here in Scottsdale, some pretty challenging times over the last few years, but things are rebounding.
Yeah, look, we lost 800 or 900 jobs over a period of 5 or 6 years with the loss of the vegetable factory and the 2 major pine sawmills. And then, of course, the Tasmanian Forest Agreement didn't do any good for native forest as well. So I reckon we've got 600 or 700 of those back, to be honest. And once again, it's hard to find a house to rent or buy in Scottsdale, and they're on the market for a week and they're sold unless you're seriously overpriced.
Yeah, and they've gone up $100,000.
And they've gone up $100,000. Yeah, they was about 187 about 4 years ago was the median house price, and now it's around 300. So really positive for Scottsdale as well.
And further to the coast, obviously beautiful Bridport, such a lovely place for people to live and holiday at.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Bridport's always been a favourite spot for locals, but there's a lot of people out of Launceston have discovered Bridport, and from the rest of Tasmania as well, and the house prices down there have just gone through the roof essentially. And mind you, there's a few families out of Launceston who have actually decided Bridport's such a great place that they've moved down there to live and send their kids to school locally and travel to Launceston to work.
Yeah. And so how can you see the future of this wonderful municipality grow? There's lots of new exciting things from a rural perspective as well.
Yeah, there is. We probably need a reasonable sized manufacturing plant of some sort, and look, there's a few options on the table. I mean, there's a sand mining option being proposed for some of the sand dunes at Waterhouse, which are encroaching on the farmland. There's a lot of milk being produced in the area, and while there's probably not enough to build a full-scale factory, we could probably build a reducing type factory, so you reduce the quantity of milk you take down the coast, because most of it's only water anyway. And look, and downstream vegetable processing I think is still an option, because we've got the new irrigation scheme came online in February, and we've got good soil, good climate, huge scope to actually build some sort of vegetable processing plant. So that's what we'll be working on. And the other issue is, of course, we need a decent road out of here, which we've got some money for, but we need a bit more.